Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel L. Connon. Welcome to Pre-Market Info.
Well, the market is kind of down a little bit with fair value. We're up a quarter. We're just down slightly with fair value. It is Oracle that is trying to give us a little bit of a tech wreck here this morning, Joel. Oracle reported earnings there last night, 65 cents versus 66. Stock actually missed on revenue too, 9 billion versus 9.38 billion. So they missed on the top line, missed on the bottom line. The guidance isn't great for next quarter, 85 to 91. Estimates are at 88, so you can see the disaster after hours last night in Oracle.
Right, and take a look. After the news came out, you got an initial spike down to 32.72. We're able to recover slightly over the $33 level. Then we come back to this 32.72 level again, Dennis. So there is some support there based on the pre-market and after-hours trading. Let's go to the daily and see if that lines up with any good numbers that we could put any faith in. We got to go all the way. But what do you know, Dennis? We got a low here at 32.69 on December 31st when Dennis was trying to get long Oracle for the big run up. But you got to respect that level down to the 32.50 level. I don't quite feel a bet coming on here, but I do like the 32.50 to 32.70 level as support. If I was short, I definitely would be trying to buy that.
Yeah, it's a big difference though if you're shorter as opposed to if you're trying to pick a bottom on a long just off of a spot like that. It's scary. Obviously, pullbacks have been bought in this market, but there's nothing really great to report in this quarter. The commentary wasn't great either, so somewhat nervous to be picking bottoms in Oracle. Maybe wait for the regular session, see how it's trading during the regular session when the majority of your participants are in there, and then if it can form some type of bottom, then maybe you could think about it. But I don't
Why
know.
do
It's a
these
scary
analysts
stock.
come out the day after the earnings? They come out with the downgrades. Why can't
They
they
always
ever
do
be
that.
forward-looking and say, "Hey, man, look at this run, man, from under $30 up to 36. Get out, take some profits." Why do they wait for the bad news to come out with their
Downgrades, I know.
downgrade?
CLSA, Evercore both downgrading Oracle today. I mean, you're right. They're obviously the look, and then they say, oh, well, the stock's down here. Our price target's a little bit too high. We better lower that so we don't look too bad. Always after the fact. So analysts are always seem to be chasing price. And I agree, they should be trying to figure out what the price is going to be doing, not downgrading it because the price moved down. So instead of chasing price, why don't they try to predict price a little bit more? So kind of agree with your little argument there that the analysts, I don't know, a lot of them don't seem to be very relevant here with some of their predictions.
And if you
Jables,
got
go ahead.
if you got caught holding the bag in this one and you're waiting for a rally, you got to imagine that if you get back up to this $34 level, you had
Yeah,
multiple lows around there, might be a place to let things go.
yeah,
What do you
lots
got
of
going in
people.
JBL circuit?
Lots of people with reference points in that 34 area, so I agree. Jabil Circuit missing earnings as well. Stock is trading down here in the pre-market. They missed 53 cents versus 54. Revenues beat 4.4 billion versus 4.38 billion, but the miss on the bottom line there was knocking the stock down last night. It has found a little bit of a lift here this morning in the pre-market, obviously, after bottoming last night down the mid-18s. It's starting to get back into the 19 area.
1860 was the low. You got a 40-cent pop back up to the 19 level. We were discussing this the other day. There was some news in the sector related, and we had talked about this $19 level. It has bounced off it. You got to use this as a reference point here. 1876 down to the low in the pre-market of 1860. You also got a couple bottoms here, so running into support above the 1850 level. I think that's what you'll find support today. Coming back on the upside, this 19 is going to be a good swing level as trading right around it in the pre-market as we talk.
So we do have a little bit of a tech wreck here going on. Some stocks that are moving down in sympathy with these couple of stocks. IBM trading down here. Actually, last night, believe it or not, this thing was ticking under 213 in the pre-market. It's now a bit at 214, so they overshot maybe a little bit last night. But IBM still getting a buck knocked off it here in the pre-market, despite getting $2 knocked off it last night after the Oracle earnings.
Yeah, well, you definitely have someone that wants out at 216 or around that level. Put a three out of the last five highs between 215 82 and 215.90. So after trading under, around 213, getting back up there, that 215 level will start to get accumulated with offers. Coming on the downside, 214.30 was yesterday's low. We're trading around that level. You get a use that as resistance right now. And Bieber, look at all these greens it has here. Now it's showing you a couple reds, a couple red days. So maybe some time to take some profits in IBM.
Hewlett Packard was trading down off the Oracle slash JBL earnings last night a bit too. This morning they are announcing they're increasing their dividend by a penny, 1 cent a quarter from 13.2 cents up to 14.5 cents, so I guess 1.3 cents a share per quarter. I don't think investors are very excited because actually, since they've announced this, the stocks has drifted down farther. So I think investors probably not all that excited with the 1 penny increase. Show the pre-market chart, Joel, just so we can see what's happened there after hours in Hewlett
Yeah, they
Packard.
did. Yeah, I mean, this spike probably just on very low volume
Yeah,
here,
that's
finding
just an overshoot.
support, finding support here, minor support at the $22.60 level. I guess before I get too happy with calling a top and Hewlett Packard as well, I'd like to see what happens on this day right here. We have a close at 22.92. See if we can get back above that, start to trade again, the 23 handle. It got all the way to 23.58 yesterday before pulling back. So this thing needs to get back above 23, or else I think we might have a temporary top here. This has just been one heck of a run. And then also you have the 2-day low at 22.63, kind of low in the pre-market. After that, you're looking at 22.20.
Couple other stocks trading down. Microsoft is trading down 16 cents here. We got Intel trading down 19 cents. Actually, Cisco, here's one trading down a little bit more there, Joel. It's down 33 cents, getting a downgrade from FBR Capital this morning as well. Cisco trading down at 21.34 right now after closing at 21.67. So this one here looking a little bit weaker. And wow, that 22 area, man, it's had multiple tops up there.
Yeah, definitely. Now you got an area of support that you are testing. You had 21.24 low on March 6th. We are right there right now. That coincides yesterday low at 21.30. Minor support, folks, though. Minor support here. You take that out, definitely going to trade, or definitely may trade under 21. You had a low going back on March 5th at 20.83. So below this low here, I just I can't really find any reason to be attempting a long in the stock. Perhaps maybe if you're short, looking at this area as a potential cover area.
Other stocks with earnings here. Let's move away from the tech sector just for a bit. Lululemon reported earnings here this morning, 75 cents versus 74. Stock obviously beat by the penny. It was trading down significantly earlier here, though. The guidance is light. I see they see in 2013 $1.95 to $1.99 versus 216, but this stock has turned around and reversed course here now after ticking. Looks like all the way down to 60.50. That's insane. But the stock is coming back here now. It's actually trading up 64.40.
Yeah. Well, there's three very well, two very ugly days, and then a dip yesterday and a
Yeah.
recovery. I mean, when these retail stocks, I mean, they keep going. Let's just look like a longer term. It's good news, it's good news, it's good news, it's good news, and they rally, they make the all-time high, and then bad news, earnings, whatever, guidance or whatever. Once the tide stems, I mean, for these retail stocks, especially like when they put out all these sheer pants or whatever that everyone is unhappy with, it's really hard to stem the tide. I would have to go to the daily chart because that intraday chart was kind of crazy. Let's keep an eye on 64.48 and 64.57. That was a double top. We're trading there now. If in fact you break above there, you have room to fill the gap almost up to the $66 level. So let's keep an eye. You got a good swing number to look at right off the open.
It's one of those stocks. Obviously, it's sold off ahead of the earnings here. I'm not sure if they pre-announced or not, too. the earnings
Just
itself.
there was some
There,
other there was some
there was
news about
something,
they
yeah.
had to pull they had to pull these pants off because they were sheer. I don't know, they were see through or whatever. I mean, I don't know what these yoga people want, man.
Regardless,
I
this
mean,
was very weak coming into the report. The report itself wasn't that bad, so it's not surprising that this is bouncing back a bit despite the guidance being weak. J.C. Penney, Joel, one we haven't talked about for a few days, anyways. They received a letter from their bondholders. Remember, we were talking about this about a month and a half ago that they had received that letter of default from some of their bondholders. The bondholders are withdrawing that notice of default letter here now, and stock actually got a nice lift after hours last night on that news. Lifted up a bit here in the pre-market, but kind of giving it back now. It's only trading up 3 cents, 16.20 on J.C. Penney.
well, it's got to be a good stock or not a good stock to own is when the good news is that the people are not going to push you on a default. So I mean, if that kind of news, I mean, it's always treacherous, to be in the stock. But look at this $16 level, couple lows right there, popped above it. I think that he come back down here, 16 double bottom, 1597 to 1602. That should be good support. Looking at yesterday's high, 1655, coincides nicely with the after hours high. So you have a defined range here, J.C. Penney, at least from the 16 and the 1650 level.
I mean, it's been a decent 7 or 8 days for this stock too. You got a nice little trend back, obviously, from when we bottomed in the 14 handle there, and we've been slowly marching up here for the last 7 or 8 trading sessions, consolidating here yesterday. But the chart, obviously looks better than it did, 2 weeks ago when the stock couldn't find a bottom at all. It found a bottom. It obviously has been slowly marching up from that bottom, and trying to show some strength despite obviously a lot of ugly fundamentals happening there. Nike reports tonight here, Joel. It's trading down just 20 cents with fair value right now, but really actually no trades actually this morning on it. Those were last night. 55 bucks looks big to me on this stock just from a technical perspective, but what do you think's in store for their Nike?
Yeah, well then I mean I don't know the whole Tiger Woods and Lindsey Vonn thing with him wearing the Nike thing and her wearing the Under Armour thing is very confusing. But who knows how that's going to affect the stock price? 55 bucks has been pretty good resistance. You had a nice range yesterday, got up near the $55 level. So if you're looking to lighten up ahead of earnings, unless doing getting caught in an Oracle like debacle. Look at target this $55 level. Above that, you have a double top at 55.61 to 65. Coming back on the downside, I call this 54.06 just minor support here. Well, I call it major support because look at all those lows you had at 54. So if you're trying to protect profits on this and not sell the top, keep an eye on the $54 level.
Just missed Guess reported last night there too. I wanted to go back to the earnings there just to talk about Guess's earnings. 95 cents versus 87, so they beat by 8 cents. Revenue was good, 815 million versus 785 million, but guidance for full year was terrible. $1.70 to $1.90. Estimates were up at 210. That is why Guess is basically getting beaten up here last night, continuing to get beaten up here in the pre-market. It's down $1.70 from the 4 o'clock close.
Yeah, not much good news from Guess. Hit a 24.24 low, spiked up here over 26. Looks like you're getting minor resistance now at the 25.5 level. So if you got lucky and caught a bid here, 25.5 may be an exit point. Have to look at the daily to get a little better feel for this stock. You were holding support for quite a while. Really, this double bottom's been obliterated here at 25.75, so that's going to be your minor resistance point. Looking at the chart here, you got a double bottom under the $25 level at 24.62. That's ahead of the pre-market low, so that would be my area of support today in Guess.
You wanted to highlight Apple here because there was some interesting. It was traded really tight there yesterday afternoon. If you bring up yesterday afternoon's chart, this thing just kissing around the 450 to 452 area for the better part of 5 hours. The entire trading session. You can see the early morning sell-off. Found support at 450 and just kind of bounced between 450 and 452. for a long time there. What's your take on that?
Well, I think that someone's accumulating the stock here. I mean,
Maybe.
you definitely have had a major sell off. You got to pop. The way things are looking now, that 419, may be for the low for the next 3 years.
Oh,
So
that's a
the
bold call.
well, I bought my iPhone, man. You never know. Next time I might even buy an iPad or something. I'm not going to get carried. I'm not going to get carried away. No, I mean, you'd like to see that kind of accumulation. I mean, if someone's trying to buy a lot of stock around 450, it takes a while. I mean, this thing trades some volume, but I'm looking at yesterday's low. Let's go to the daily chart. Yesterday's low let's see, and Tuesday's low within a buck of each other, 448.50, 449.69. So there's major support. I mean, what I think some of these institutions do that really want to buy 450, well, let's let it go under 450 and then send a big order up there and try and catch it. So 450 is being targeted. I think if that can hold off the open, maybe get a chance to go back up and test this 460 level.
Facebook, Joel, we haven't talked about it for a few days. I had another
Yeah,
breakdown day there yesterday. This stock's quietly starting to not look that pretty on the chart here again. Obviously, everybody was bullish back when it was going up 28, 30, 32, and everybody's raising their price targets and jumping on the bandwagon. Well, the bandwagon's been quiet here for the last 2 months, really, as the
it
stock
really
continues to
has.
drift down. 25.83. This is looking like a scary area where it almost looks like it's sitting on a cliff still.
Yeah, I mean, this thing too. I mean, you could turn around and look, and it's going to be up 50 cents on a day. This stuff has a lot of wicked, reversals
Yes, it does.
intraday and yeah, overnight. So, but this is one I've kind of had on the radar for a while. 25.78 was your low on Monday. Yesterday, you matched at 25.78. But I don't think I'm going to get too giddy about this stock yet because I'm looking a little bit longer term here. And I like my 50%
Right.
retracements, right? So what you had your 1755 low.
Yeah,
You
that's an
got up
ugly
to over,
chart. Maybe we can get a
yeah,
different chart. Go to the weekly chart or something on that. Yeah,
yeah, you
maybe
had a
it'd be better.
1755 low. Anyways, without looking at the charts, $25 is what I'm targeting. I like to see this thing fall down another buck. That would be the 50% retracement of the last major rally. Have some accumulation around there, and then I think you might have a short-term bottom in it.
Overall market thoughts here. We are quiet. Basically, since we started the show, we've just bounced around in this 1 point range. There's your favorite chart, the ES. But we've just
Got to do it
show
once a show.
show the pre-market chart here because we have been actually very quiet, considering all the earnings and stuff that we've had overnight. Obviously, we had a little bit of sell-off in the tech stocks. But not the broad market really isn't selling off here overall. A little bit of weakness in the techs, but that's about it. And the market itself here is just kind of hanging out, doing nothing, trading in a 1 or 2 point range for the majority of the pre-market and after-hours session.
Yeah, I wanted, I just wanted to talk about this 1550 level. I mean, I want to make sure that our listeners and our traders on the site, in addition to what we have up on MarketFi on our main site, premarketinfo.com, I post daily levels for the S&Ps, and I take a lot of time doing them, and I'd like to make sure you guys are take a look at them. But I really try and get very micro, and I try and get these exact levels, days, highs, and lows, just trying to be as precise as possible. But sometimes it takes a round number, and I know, Dennis, you've pounded the round number theory into me several times, and 1550 seems to be like a huge round number here. We've spent some time trading above it, got up to 1558.75. Had the Cyprus news, took us under, back down to 1530. And now we're just coming back up to this 1550 level. Do you think we're just going to get above there and hold and go up to 1600? Or is this 1550 kind of going to put, a little bit nail in the coffin in this rally and maybe to get a pullback down to the 1500 level? I'm going to throw the ball in your court on this one.
Man, it's so hard technically. I think you're still going to see headlines coming out of Cyprus here. You're still going to see this market is still headline driven here. So it's very difficult from, to look farther out than, just on a daily perspective here because you have those potential for headlines to drive the market higher or lower. I think there's still some people nervous in this market. Obviously, we had a couple of wicked days of selling off, really, where we sold off hard rally, then sold off again on the Cyprus. So there always is that potential if you get some bad news out of the Cyprus area that the market could sell off here again. I think you just got to play the range is what's been happening. You've been finding support in the 1530s. Every time we get down there, it just bounces right out of there. But the last 4 or 5 sessions here, we have been finding some resistance in the 1550s, and there's definitely some institutions that are nervous, definitely some institutions that are taking off some positions, and that's why we can't make new highs here the last 2 days, because they're targeting this whole 1550 to 1555 area as an exit
Okay.
point.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's pretty good analysis coming from Mr. Bull over there, and I'm Mr. Bear.
I'm somewhat
You've been right.
concerned.
You've been right for the last couple of years.
I'm
So,
somewhat concerned. My bullishness is somewhat concerned. I'd love to see us get up there. For me to remain bull, I'm still. I actually was sending this out to a friend the other day. I say as long as we stay above 1529, that low that we set after Cyprus the first time,
okay.
as long as we stay above there, the bulls are still in control. If for whatever reason we start getting some bad headlines, start heading down below 1529, all bets are off, and then you start to get nervous here because we have had a hell of a run for basically 4 years here. So there's no doubt, that we can have a
Good.
correction. The possibilities are there for that to happen. But I still think that bogey down there is 1529 for the bulls. If we ever cut through that number, I'd start to get nervous with some of my longs.
Right, at 15, and that 29.50 low on the Cyprus debacle was matched basically at 31.75 on Tuesday. So you give an excellent reference point there, Dennis. And actually, I'm getting quite a few comments here that people are loving your macro analysis. So
Macro. I'm not a big
that's
macro guy, but I try to look at the technicals and it's a headline-driven market. I mean, it's a funny thing about macros. You don't need to be an economist to trade this market, not at all. And I'm definitely not an economist. You need to just be able to have risk and return. It's all about risk return, having your reference points, knowing where I'm going to cut out if the trade goes against me. That is what trading is all about. And if you have those reference points in place, if you know what your risk is on the trade before you go into the trade, you will have a lot better success, in my opinion. Uh,
And I think that the new Fed, you should replace Bernanke when he steps down. But
yeah.
we're running long into the show here. Dennis has got to get ready for the Open, and that's our show. We'll be back with you tomorrow.